The death is announced of a loving son, brother, father, uncle, and friend, Chilion Lucas Jules, also known as Shiloh or Raslo, of Denrivier, Denry, who passed away at the St. Jude Hospital on Wednesday, 14th May 2025. He was 54 years old. Left to mourn his mother, his queen, Nora Jules of Denrivier, Denry, a freelance caregiver. Father, Lucas Jules, also known as Atomic or Automani, of Grand Riviere Dennery, employed with Communications and Works Department in the Ministry of Infrastructure, Ports, Transport, Physical Development, and Urban Renewal. Girlfriend, Junelle Emmanuel, on the Rock, Dennery. Son, Rashid Marlon Jules, student of Dennery Infant School. Brother, Lencius Jules, also known as Picola or Pika, employed with solid waste management. Marvell Jules, also known as Scholar of Denrivier. Anselm Gustave, also known as RC of Gadet. Andreas Jeffers, also known as Andel of Wapatat Castries, employed with Frank B. Armstrong Limited. Sister Nicole Jules, also known as Nikki or Nikki J. of Denrivier, employed with Solar Dynamics and co-owner of D&N Plumbing Services. Adopted sisters Janessa Joseph and Amber Maglow of Denrivier, both in the U.S. Adopted brothers Carrie Peter, also known as Rhino of Denry, Sherwood Serrier of Miku, Levi Alphonse, also known as Lava of Belmont, Denrivier. Adopted daughters Brunel Gianna Francis of Denrivier, but resided in the U.S., Annie Baffa Thomas, also known as Kerlisa of Belmont, Denrivier. Grandmothers Francilia George, better known as Tato or Tata of Denrivier. Daphne St. Rose, better known as Imelda of Montparnasse, Grand Riviere. Grandfather Anthony Starrett Filgens Sr., also known as Major of Grand Riviere, Groseilliers, Denry, retiree of the Ministry of Agriculture. Aunts Catherine Jules of Denrivier, Sabina Jules, also known as Sophia Aguavine, employee of Denry North Constituency Council. Janelle Jules of Grand Riviere, Maeve Albert in the U.S., children of deceased aunts, Eutosia Frederick of Bexor and Jennifer Gaston of La Pointe, Denry. Emmis Charles, also known as Jano of Denrivier, Anthony Starrett Filgens Jr. of Grand Riviere, Groseilliers, financial analyst in the Ministry of Health, Wellness, and Elderly Affairs. Adrielle Filgens of Grand Riviere in Canada. Garvey Stanio, also known as Philip of Denry Village. Alban Jules, also known as Deliston or White Man Trump of Lacaille, Denry. Bernard Jules, better known as Foster of Denrivier. Mervyn Guillaume of Castries, employed with Acado Limited. Clevis Jules, also known as CJ of Richford, employed with Ministry of Youth Development and Sports. Simmons Jules of Grand Riviere Denry in the U.S. Garnet Gaston and Norbert Gaston of Castries. Peter of Monrepos. Grand Uncle Stanislas Hippolyte, better known as Nathan or Ipo of Denrivier. Grand Aunts Agneta Thomas, better known as Greta, and Muriel Moise of Denry. Elizabeth Young in St. Croix. Medrica Jules. Nieces Marnie Naomi Jules of Denrivier. Ansley Marcella Joss, and Deala Ashanti Jawina Princess Wasad, both of Martinique. Nephews Nahum Jules, Nashon Nicholas, and Gabe Nicholas of Dennery. Zini St. Marthe and Zahim St. Marthe of Den Riviere. Many cousins: Tallis Jules in St. Croix, Delphia Jules in Maricel, Tessa Jules, nurse at OKEU Hospital, Alwyn Jules, Kimry Jules, Nelia Justin, teacher at Leon Hess Comprehensive Secondary School, Sophia Edwin, employed at Ministry of Education, Kirby Jules, also known as DJ Curbs, pharmacy technician at Tapio Hospital, DeAndre Jules, employed at Ministry of Justice, Darius Jules, employed at Renault, Barry Kokiran, Casey Jules, and Cleanus Jules, all of Mabia Valley, Justina Edwin, better known as Ado, Joseph Jules, better known as Joss, and Dennis Jules, better known as Kokoi, all of Martinique. Ansas Herman, better known as Aboy, and family of Den Riviere. Michael Felix, also known as Ducks or Kirks, and family of Den Riviere. Prince Richie, better known as Coach of Den Riviere. Patrick George, better known as Spa, and family of Boisjoli Dennery. Virginie George, better known as Stephen or Zie Vola, and family. Lucius Filgens, Telsa Filgens, and family of Dennery. Vernon and Vernancia Estefan of Den Riviere. Leo Hippolyte of Barbados. Mitchell Flavian, also known as Sweetie of Castries. Neil Jules, Kendall Guillaume, Stanley Jules, Trandy Jules, both in Canada. Sister-in-law, Winifred Mathre. Brother-in-law, Sherman Matthew. Mother-in-law, Bernice Fauché. Father-in-law, John Emmanuel. Special friends, Aloysius Hippolyte, better known as Aki, in the U.S., Monette and Gildet of Den Riviere, Shemai Nicholas and Battery of Dennery, Nelson Stephen, also known as Buiz, Brimstone, Akeem, and Paulinus Alexander, Prisco, also known as Tiger, Reed, Delcia Francis, better known as Alma, Pecky Sonson, also known as Murky, Martin Francis, also known as Duzla, Sybil, and Bushi, all of Den Riviere. Brent, also known as Turbulence, and Marquet, also known as Fresh of Gadet. Keith Joseph, also known as Cowboy of Miku. Many other friends. The whole of Block 22. Upstreet Boys of Austin Hill. Sob, Jeff, Battery, and many fisher folks by the Dennery Fisheries Complex. The George family, both here and abroad. Jules family, both here and abroad. Hippolyte family, both here and abroad. Flavian family of Dennery. Filgens family, both here and abroad. The Felix family of Den Riviere. The Victor and Eli Box family of Mark Bexor. Special mention to doctors and nurses on the medical and surgical ward at the St. Jude Hospital, especially Dr. Moshere, Werner Estefan, Ralph James, also known as Rafi, Helen George, also known as Mufam, Vanessa Francis, also known as Fam, Gemma Alexander, friends and family from the Mabuya Valley, Miku, and Dennery. many other cousins, relatives too numerous to mention. The funeral service for the late Chilion Lucas Jules, also known as Shiloh or Raslo, will be held on Saturday, 31st May 2025 at the Dennery Evangelical Church at 2:30 p.m. and then the body will be laid to rest at the Larisu Cemetery. The body now lies at Lazarus Funeral Home, Udall Road, Vieux Fort. May he rest in peace.